Welcome to Bedhampton Church. Contact us at www.bedhampton.church. But for now, let's continue that journey with this input. December the 21st on 2012 marked the end of the first great cycle of the Maya-long calendar. Many believed that that was the end of the calendar and therefore the end of the world. They were wrong. You may have noticed that. Harold Camping, a preacher, predicted the end of the world was on May the 21st, 2011. A date that he calculated was exactly 7,000 years after the biblical flood. He's been wrong about a few things, as Harold Camping, and he was wrong about that. Of course, Halley's Comet itself is often shrouded in doom predictions. Every 76 years or so it approaches the Earth, but it was in 1910 when it approached very closely. And a group in Oklahoma tried to sacrifice a virgin to ward off the impending doom and the end of the world. They were also wrong. And it's not even just in the last couple of hundred years. Johann Stoffler, a respected German mathematician and astrologer, predicted that a great flood would cover the world on February the 25th, 1524. Why? Well, it's because all known planets at the time were in alignment under Pisces. He was wrong. And of course there have been many, many others trying to predict when the world will end and when Jesus will return. But the problem with that is that Jesus is pretty clear. We've heard in our reading today that we shouldn't be worrying too much about that. About that day or hour, no one knows, he says, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. And the people that looked for the end of the world missed the point. You see, when Jesus says, be ready for the return of God's Son, I'm not sure that he's actually talking about a particular point that we need to be ready for. At least not the same point for all of us. Of course, he points back to Noah with the people that he's speaking to at the time, and he says, look, they didn't know that their time had come. They didn't know they weren't going to make it into the ark. They should have got their affairs in order. But the real point is not that Jesus is saying to us that we should get our affairs in order, ready to face him. The real point, I believe, is that we should keep our affairs in order. We've all known people whose time has been too short on this earth, and we've all known people whose time has come quicker than they believed it would. Surprised them, if you will. So let's keep our affairs in order. Let's not wait until it's too late. But what does it mean to keep our affairs in order? Well, this will not surprise you because it's something we talk about often here. Keeping our affairs in order is to love God and to love God's people. So do we love God? Do you, do I love God? Now, our presence here today might indicate that we do. But a friend of mine told me once that going to church every week doesn't make you a lover of God any more than going to the garage makes you a car. So do we love God? Only I know, and God knows, if I am at peace with him. Only I know if I love God. And I guess the same is true of you. So do we keep our affairs in order with our God? And do we keep our affairs in order with God's people? Those here today and outside as well. I left home at the age of 17 after having one of those high-level discussions with my father. It ended something along the lines of, well, all the time you're underneath my roof, you live by my rules. And I, feeling I was witty as you like, responded, I guess I don't live underneath your roof anymore. The following 18 months when we did not speak were some of the worst times of my life, and I feared I would never clear I would never clear the decks with my father before something happened. I'm grateful to say that me and my father were the best of friends for many years afterwards, before he did die. We did keep our affairs in order between one another, and we had some of the best years after that time. But it's not always easy, is it, to keep our affairs in order with one another and with other people. And sometimes it means being more like Jesus than perhaps we believe we can be. Where sometimes we have to take the Jesus route, even though we feel we're not wrong. Of course, I'm not talking about abusive situations. That is outside the kingdom of God and is not something that he would want. But there are situations where we and our affairs with those on this earth are not in order, and we need to deal with them before we face Jesus. Sometimes, of course, we can't physically do that anymore. They themselves may have died. But we have a loving God who allows us to approach him, to confess, to receive forgiveness, and to receive peace. But actually, all too often, the affairs that aren't in order are with people who are around. And for me, those are the affairs that we need to sort out. That's the big idea from today's reading. It's not worrying about when the end of the world is going to come. That will just happen at some point. We may be here, we may not be. But are our affairs in order now? Do we keep them in order? I believe one day we will stand in front of Jesus and he will have our life mapped out in front of us. And let's be real, we will have some regrets, won't we? Or was that only me that will have the regrets? But my friends, let love not be one of those regrets. Let the love of our God not be one of those regrets. And let the love of God's people from us not be one of those regrets. Let's all keep our affairs in order.
You have been listening to Bedhampton Church. Our prayer is that this helps you journey with Jesus and serve your community by sharing God's love and friendship. Subscribe and join us for more discussion at www.bedhampton.church. All material Creative Commons copyright. Contact us for more details.